To create interactivity, we act on events. It's time to start looking at events, how we listen for them, and subsequently take action. When a user interacts with something on a page, one or more events are fired. Clicking a button will trigger a click event and an input event. Making a selection on a select box will fire an event called change and also an input event. Some events fire without obvious user interaction. Like when a video is playing, you'll get an event called time update that says how much time has elapsed in the playback of that video. Basically, there are lots and lots of events available in the browser. When we submit this form by clicking this Estimate Total button, the page reloads with some URL parameters added on here. We don't want to do that. We want JavaScript to take over control of this form, which means we need to listen to an event on that form, specifically the submit event. Let's switch over to our code and start doing that. Here I am in my script.js file, which is in my work in progress folder for this project. To listen for an event, I need to add an event listener. There's a built-in function called add event listener, and I need to do this on an element. So I'm going to use document.getElementById and select which element on the page I want to listen to. Switching back to Firefox, I'm going to inspect this form. I'm going to get its ID. I'll just copy that. And now I'm going to add this event listener. This is a function which takes a couple of parameters. The first one is the type of event that I want to listen for. I type my quotes, and Visual Studio Code is attempting to complete this for me. As you can see, I have lots of different options here. I want to listen for submit. The second parameter is going to be some callable thing. You'll usually see these defined either as a function expression right in this definition, or as a reference to a function statement defined elsewhere. You might even see it as a string, referring to a function. I'm going to use the function statement version. I'm going to call this estimate total, since that's what it's eventually going to be doing. Of course, it's not defined yet, so I need to do that. I'll create a function expression down here called estimate total. And event listeners can take a parameter which represents the event. You can name this anything you want. You'll often see it as just E or EVT. I'll spell it out as event for now. And inside this function, I have access to that event, and then I can do whatever I want in response to that event having been fired. So for example, I could log a message. You submitted the form. I'll save this. Prettier takes a pass at reformatting this for me. Everything looks nice. And we'll switch back to the browser and try it. I'll load up my console and clear out the messages. Refresh again. I'll click Estimate Total, and let's watch what happens. Well, if there was a message there, I didn't see it, because the page is still reloading. So I need to stop the page from reloading. I'll switch back to the browser, and here's how we do that. Almost every event has a method available called prevent default. This will prevent almost any default action that would happen when this event is triggered. In the case of a submit event, this would prevent the page from being reloaded and the form data being submitted to the server. So I'll save this again, switch back to the browser one more time and refresh. Clear these excess messages. I'll scroll down and submit this. There we go. Now the page does not reload, and I can see my message. One more note about the code here. I referred to this function expression by name here, but it's actually defined later. This code still works because JavaScript will transparently do what's called hoisting this function. So it's as if I wrote my code this way, where the function definition appears first. It works either way, and I kind of prefer to see my event handler first, then the function later, so I'll leave it like this. We'll stop there for the moment. We've brought the form under JavaScript's control by listening for and acting upon its submit event, and set ourselves up to add our business logic coming soon.